Hello, everyone. My name is Jamelia, and I am a summer youth journalist on behalf of Regent Park TV. Today, I'll be interviewing a local Imam, Said, and today we're going to be talking about Islamophobia. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Imam Said Rageah. I live in the city of Toronto. I'm an Imam of Sakinah Community Center.
That's
I've been
great.
Imam, I've been Imam for over 20 years, and I dealt with all different type of issues regarding Islamophobia.
That's amazing. So you're the right person to talk about with this.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess my first question would be, what is Islamophobia?
Well, Islamophobia in a nutshell is anyone who is afraid of Islam and Muslims and discriminate them against them based on their faith. So in a nutshell, that's what Islamophobia is. Anybody who thinks Islam is a threat or Islam is something that is scary or something that is dangerous and therefore they need to fight it or discriminate against those people who hold the faith of Islam, that's Islamophobia. Whether this is individuals or systematic.
Yeah, definitely. So where does Islamophobia come from? Because when you talk to a lot of people and you say, do you believe that you're Islamophobic? They'll say no, but they'll have these like misconceptions or fear about the Muslim community. And I feel like most people, when they're Islamophobic, they're not really aware. So just share with people, like, where could Islamophobia come from?
I think the source of Islamophobia is ignorance. A lot of people who are afraid of Islam and Muslims or who see Islam as a threat or religion of extremism and terrorism, really they do not know anything about Islam. They never read Islam, they never studied Islam, and even they don't even ask their Muslim friends or co-workers or classmates or neighbors about what Islam is all about. I remember in September 11, I was in Washington, D.C. And in that time when September 11 took place, a lot of Americans in Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland area, they start asking themselves, what is this religion that is asking its followers to crucify and kill innocent people? And then they went back and they started educating themselves. And then they realized this is not what Islam is all about. Whatever the media was saying that time about Islam, whatever the things that they were trying to project about Islam, they realized that is not true. And to be, Jamila, you would be surprised to know that most people, 33,000 people accepted Islam in Washington, Maryland, and Virginia area simply because they read the Quran, they opened their minds to see and to what Islam is all about. So the source of Islamophobia is ignorance. When you're ignorant of something, you fear it. And when you fear something, you fight it. And this is where we are right now. Those people who are ignorant about Islam, they will fight Islam. And that's what we call Islamophobia. They have a phobia about something that is not true.
I think it's great that you brought up the part where most people who are Islamophobic, they've never even met a Muslim person. They never even talked with them. So I found this statistic online and it said that 62% of Americans who are Islamophobic, they've never met a Muslim or talked to them before. And 56% of them say that they know little about the Islam. So I find it just weird that people have these like preconceived notion about the Muslim community, but they've never ever talked to a Muslim before, or they're not friends with anyone who's Muslim.
Right. Like somebody saying that I'm afraid of black people, but you never met a black person. You never, ask. How could you judge someone because of a fear, a myth that is being created, a cloud that has been put over your head for whatever reasons, and you judge people, but at the same time you expect people to treat you, fairly, to treat you the right way, and not to be, prejudice against you. I found that, double standard.
It's so weird. So on like speaking about myths, let's just like break down some myths that people have about the Muslim community, sorry. So the first one would be that like all Muslims are same. They believe that just because they're Muslim, that they're the same, they have the same culture, they have the same everything. So can you just break that down for our watchers?
Absolutely, that is incorrect. Islam is a faith. As we have African Christians, as we have Chinese Christians, as we have European Christians, as we have North American Christians, and they all came from a different background, from a rich, different cultures and background. Exactly the same thing goes for Islam. You have African Muslims, you have Chinese Muslims, you have American Muslims, you have European Muslims, you have Arab Muslims, you have Indian Muslims, and also the mistakes that a lot of people make is they think Islam is about Arab. If you want to be a Muslim, you got to be Arab or brown person. That is incorrect. Islam is for all. So you can't really pinpoint and said this is a Muslim culture. Islam, there is no particular culture that we follow. I'm from Somalia, I'm a Muslim, but somebody from Sudan, for example, we share the same faith, we share the same understanding of Islam, but we completely have a different cultures. We have somebody from India and somebody from Nigeria. They share the same faith, but they have different cultures. So we pray exactly the same, we do the rituals exactly the same, but yet we have our own rich culture that settles it back with us.
That's great. I'm so glad that you explained that, because when some people, for example, Christianity, if I'm Christian, but I necessarily won't have the same culture as someone who's from Asia, because we're totally from different sides of this world. So we have different cultures.
Yeah. So same thing goes for all religions. I mean, whether you're Christian, whether you're Hindus, or Buddhist, or whatever religion, the culture is one thing, and your religion and faith is something else. And if you think all Muslims are from the Middle East and all we wear turbans and we go, let's go and blow up somebody, because that's also misconception.
Yeah.
You have people who are Christian, but they're extreme. Yeah, KKK, but you don't label all Christians and say they're all KKK and this is what they do. You don't. But you say, well, these are the extreme group, these are, this is where they came from. And Islam goes same thing for Muslim and Islam. Jamila, I can't hear you. Maybe something, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay. So they believe that most of it stems down to xenophobia, where you're afraid of like foreigners. So they believe just because some Muslims come from different countries, that they're like totally different people. They're out of this world. They're nothing similar to them. They have like no values. Their values are less than theirs. So could you just like explain on that? Because I feel like that's what most people think when they see a Muslim person.
I need you to rephrase the question because I missed the early part.
Okay. So I was just saying that before, like when you were explaining everything, I feel like Islamophobia also comes down to xenophobia, because most people are afraid of foreigners. And when they see Muslims, they see them as someone that's completely different, like they're not from Earth. So I just wanted you to explain on that a little bit.
Well, I don't know the people that you're referring to, or perhaps I do know the people that you're referring to. But again, Muslims, they at number one, there is only one race. There's a human race. We have to understand that. God created us differently. You're brown, you're black, you're white. It doesn't matter. But we're all human, and we all share this planet that we call, homeland or Earth. And the people who came from Africa, or the people who came from China, or people who came from different parts of Europe, we all came to Canada together to find better life for ourselves. The only difference, some of us came a little bit earlier than the others, but we're all here right now. Now, the newcomers are exactly those who came before them in terms of family values, in terms of appreciating life, appreciating security and safety, appreciating, the relationship between different races. And it is a sign of God that you're black, that you're brown, that you're white, and we should enjoy and celebrate our differences instead of be afraid of it. And these people who came here, came to North America, came to Canada, they came to add value to this land. They did not come here so they just take the resources and go back. They came here with talents, they came here with skills, they came here with education, they came here so they can, add and leave their mark on the land. You have doctors I think it was 1998 when some of the studies came up in America, and they say 48% of the medical doctors are from India and Pakistan. That's 48% of doctors from only two countries, India and Pakistan. Now imagine the people who came from China. Imagine people who came from East Africa or North Africa. Imagine people who came from different parts of the world. So we all should enjoy the beauty of our race, which is human being, and enjoy ourselves. And let us have the understanding that I respect you, therefore you should respect me as well.
Definitely. And another common misconception is that Islam forces its follower to oppress women. This is a major one because I feel like I hear it all the time from people who are like uneducated.
This is, I really don't know how to address this, because when somebody says something that is so out of the way, something so ridiculously wrong, and you don't know whether you take that person seriously or you just laugh at them or you just move on. As a matter of fact, Islam honor women. As a matter of fact, Islam have more rights than men. Let me tell you a little thing about that. When our prophet came, he came to a nation of Arabs in the Middle East, where they used to enslave women, they used to enslave one another, they used to bury girls alive, and so on. Then the prophet of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he came and he said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot abuse anyone regardless of their gender, regardless of the color of their skin. But he did something unique to educate that society and to educate everyone else. Now, he said if a person have 3 daughters and you raise them well, educate them well. See, a lot of people, they said Muslims and Islam don't educate women. Now listen to our prophet, what he taught us. He said if you have 3 daughters and you raise them well and you educate them well and you respect them well, they are your ticket to paradise. Literally, all you need to do. And then some of the companions say, oh, messenger of Allah or messenger of God, I only have 2 daughters. Would I go to paradise if I treat her well, if I educate her well, if I give? He said, yes, 2 daughters are also enough. And then another person, what about if I have 1 daughter? He said, yes. Now, that award or that reward was given to us as parents for raising a daughter well. That was never given for boys. Doesn't mean that we have to neglect boys. But Islam, from the beginning, start giving women their rights. In the Quran, we have a whole chapter called Women, the chapter of women. It talks about, the rights of women, as a wife, as a daughter, and the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, he emphasized the rights of women even at the time of his death. When he was dying, is like, be aware of the rights of women. Be aware. And then all of a sudden I hear some uneducated person who comes around and he says, guess what? Islam abuses women. I will say to that person, guess what? 70% of the reverts who are accepted Islam are women. Now, if you are, and Jamila, you seem to be intelligent young lady, would you ever accept a religion or take a faith that abuses you? Would you always? Now, why would 70% of the reverts, the people come to Islam, are women? So it's like someone saying, hey, I'm looking for someone to abuse me. Oh yeah, Islam is abusing me. I'm Muslim. That's so unintelligent. And the people who say this sometimes, I think they should educate themselves a little bit, read, because you don't say everything that comes out of your mouth and expect it to be intelligent and sound. So Islam does not abuse women. Rather, Islam gave women more rights than men themselves.
Mm-hmm. And another misconception is that women are forced to wear their hijabs. Yeah, this is another common one.
No, nobody. In the Quran, in the second chapter, God is telling us no one can force you to believe in something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have 4 daughters, and I'm very happy about that. I have 4 daughters. They all wear hijab. They all wear scarf. But they wear it because they believe this is the right thing to do for their faith. So you have so many young ladies at university, at workplaces, you see them on. Do you think all of them are forced to wear hijab? No. I mean, these women are very intelligent, very well educated. They know their rights. They live in a country where Islam has no authority over them. They can, take it off. They can rip it off. They can burn it. They can, rally against this. But none of them is doing this. So any Muslim woman who wears hijab, she wears it because she believes this is what God asked her to do. At the same time, what would you say if someone says, Mary was forced to wear scarf? Because all the image of Mary that we have, the mother of Jesus, is wearing a scarf. Mm-hmm. So if someone says Mary was forced to wear, hijab, and if she was, that's ridiculous. So what I would say to you, Jamila, look, maybe you should, Regent Park is packed with Muslims, and you see them with their children, pushing their strollers or with their husbands. I stop one of them and say, are you forced to wear this? Is anybody behind you? And if you don't wear it, he's going to shoot you or whip you or imprison you. It will all say, no, this is a personal choice.
I also want to point out that most of my Muslim friends that are females, some of them don't even wear the hijabs. And if all the women were forced to wear hijabs, I'd all see them come to school wearing hijabs. So I also wanted to point that out.
Yeah, it's a choice. This is what Islam teaches. This is what God wants you to do. If you do it, you are rewarded. If you choose not to do it, this is between you and God. Me as an imam, I cannot interject and say, you go into hell or you go into heaven or you go. No, I cannot say that, because we were ordered in Islam not to judge people, not to, say you are good or you're bad. You're not God. So a sister may wear a scarf and we say, thank you very much for, doing this. This is your faith. And she may choose not to wear it. We say, hey, this is your choice. But no one is forcing anyone to wear hijab, especially, knowing these women are very well educated, very strong young ladies, and none of them is complaining about it.
And another misconception is that Muslims are terrorists or they're dangerous or they'll hurt you. Another popular one.
Yes. Sometimes media they play play a very dangerous card, but they don't know it, or they maybe they know it, or maybe they, like, you see these movies and you see, as soon as you see Arab person, for example, or as soon as you see you hear the adhan, somebody's gonna get killed, somebody's gonna be blown up, or some terrorist act is being taking place. And this is the perception that the media sometimes gives about Islam, but that is not true. Muslims right now, according to CIA, are 2.1 billion. Now imagine, Jamila, if every Muslim is a terrorist. Imagine if every Muslim, sees non-Muslim as a target. How many people will really, survive? You have according to CIA, is 2.1 billion, people. I'm sorry, 1.2 billion, not two. I'm sorry, 1.2 billion. Now, where in the world that logic tells you that you have this number of people and they all terrorists? At the same time, as a matter of fact, is the other way. We have been terrorized. We have been terrorized. When my daughters go to school, I have to worry about. When my wife goes out with her, I have to worry about. And especially us, we deal with three things. We deal with being, black. So you are a walking target for the police. You're walking target for, this systematic racism. You are walking target. Just knowing that And number two, we immigrants. A lot of us are immigrants. And that is another strike against us. Thirdly, we are Muslims. So we dealing with three issues. So when people say, "Oh, Muslims are terrorists," I would say, why don't you just look at the way around? Why don't you see how oppressed we are? Here we have systematic racism against Islam. Even CIA, if you read the global and mail news articles, the CIA, is an official government entity. They discriminate against Muslim entities, Muslim organizations, Muslim imams, and so on. So if anybody is being terrorized, it's us, no one else. So anybody saying that Islam is terrorist, no, that's not.
Yeah. So how could these stereotypes negatively affect the Muslim community?
Oh, where should I start from? Where should I start
so
from?
Much.
Where should I start from? I mean, you're a black young lady. You see how would you struggle with? People. Use a lot of the black young women when they come from interview. They know they're not getting this job because of the color of their skin. Imagine us dealing with all this, layer after layer after layer after layer. To deal with it is really stressful. It causes a lot of mental issues. It causes a lot of anxiety. It causes a lot of depression because these young men and women who thought, this is the land of freedom. I'm a Canadian. I was born in North York. I was born in Toronto. I was born in Scarborough. I have the right of every Canadian. And then they were slammed, with that. No, you're not Canadian, even though you may have the citizenship, you may have the passport, you may have the birth certificate, but you are not welcome as a Canadian. That is too much to deal with. And you see a lot of young people who've been, depressed, and they say, what else can we do? What else can we do? We finish education, we're not getting a job. We finished this, we did everything, but we're not getting it. Now, how to overcome is the question.
Yeah.
How to overcome the struggle is the question. And the best way to overcome is it has to come from both sides, Jamila. Like right now we have Black Lives Matters issue, groups, and we're fighting for our rights. But if only one side is fighting and the other side is not responding, there would be no solution. If these people have Islamophobia and they're targeting imams, they're targeting Muslim women, they're targeting Islamic Center, they're targeting Muslim community, and the Muslim community trying to do their ultimate best, we will never reach anywhere. We're pushing and they're pushing, we're not going anywhere. No. So what we need to do is, we're not doing anything wrong as Muslims, as we understand. When I came to this country as a child, my brother, I still remember, he put me on the flight and he said, go to the land of freedom. Be whatever you can be. Boy, was he wrong. Boy, was he wrong. When I got here, you're immigrant. Oh, you're black. Oh, obstacle. And I was like, I gotta be better than the rest of the classmates. I gotta do better than everyone else in my community, so I can just get what he is getting. What is being handed over to him. Or handed over to her. I have to struggle 10 times more. Where is the land of freedom? Where is the freedom that we're talking about? Where is this equality that we're talking about? Why am I being discriminated because of my color, because of my religion, because of my faith, because of, I did not come here by choice, as a matter of fact. My country was, torn apart because of a civil war. I was looking for safety and security, but I feel internally I've been more terrorized right here than back home, right? I mean, my kids they know nowhere else. They have no other country. They have nowhere else to go. But I feel sad for them because they're not accepted. No one is accepting them.
Yeah, for the part where you said that you might be Canadian but you're not treated as Canadian, do you remember the Bill 21 law in Quebec?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that like really wrong, because it's a part of the constitutional act that people have the right to like show their religion. Like, you, how can you just stop a Sikh man and Sikh women from wearing their turbans, a Muslim woman from wearing her hijab, niqabs, and burqas? Like,
Yeah,
to me, that's just not fair. And they would like bring in the equation saying that we're gonna strip it away from everyone. But for Christians, you don't really wear any religious garments, and if you have the cross, you can simply just put it underneath your shirt. So,
absolutely.
so I feel like that the people that were targeted the most by it were Sikh people and Muslim people.
Yep,
And I feel like that was like their true intentions behind this. Because they will also say that in order for a Muslim woman to like get the help that she needs, she will have to remove her burqa, which was like completely wrong to me.
absolutely. I mean, politicians are politicians. Lawmakers, they know exactly the intention of what they're doing. So when they say, Bill 21, we don't want any religious dress code, who else are they targeting? Who else? I mean, only women that I know who would cover their head or wear a scarf are Muslims. So that means automatically you're out. That's the only target that they have. Any man that I know that wear turban, religiously Sikh. So
Yeah.
if they say we target all the religious, no, you're not. You're only targeting two people. You're only targeting these. So why don't we be straightforward and be honest with ourselves and say, Sikh, we don't like you. Muslims, we don't like you. Get out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people think, and they do. They think, what do you call Trump? Trump is crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not a hypocrite. He's an idiot. He's not, but he's not a hypocrite. He says, "I hate you because you're black. I hate you because you're Muslim. I hate you because you're immigrant. Out of my country."
Mm-hmm.
Please, he gave you the truth. But these guys, they come up with the new, beautiful, colorful, that bill. So, well, we just don't want any religious, symbol. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is, they're only targeting two people.
Yeah.
Sadly, people buy that today.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And there's this thing where you have like a dominant like culture in one society. So for example, how we celebrate Christmas at school. So for Christmas, you have like you have like 2 weeks off, I believe. But when
Right.
Eid comes around, you don't really have like days off of school. If you miss school, you're marked absent. So that's like so strange to me, because how are you just gonna give a religious holiday to one group of people, but you completely neglect the other groups of people?
Well, hypocrisy is the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about how you word your statement, how I remember, I think it was John Tory when he was running for premier, and he said, "I will give all religious schools the same right of Catholic public school." So all private religious schools will receive the same right of Catholic, which means they will get funding from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, did he lose that election? He lost it just like that.
Wow.
Why? They was like, wait a second. You want to make these Africans, these Asian, you want to put them on the same, table as Catholic schools that is being funded by the government, funded by the taxpayers, because I pay for the Catholic schools, you pay for the Catholic school. I have nothing against Catholic schools, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But why can't we not receive similar rights? Why
Yeah.
can't we be like them? If you're saying this is the land of equality and we're all equal and we have exactly the same rights, so why the hypocrisy is so thick that I cannot see what you're saying? How come is it just a words, and when it comes to action, there is no trace of what you're saying? This is reality, is far from that. So again, once again, Jamila, um, I know, we are hoping for better life. We're hoping for the future to change. But unless the other side is willing to step down and say, okay, why don't we? What happened in the past. Whatever's been done to Black Americans or Black Canadians or African Americans or African Canadians, why don't we just let us move forward? but you can't be expecting things to change while the oppression still stands.
Exactly.
You can't accept, Muslims to say, we're all dandy and we're all, good together. Let's go have fun. Let's party. When, Muslim women being abused. I mean, do you know, Jamila? I'm sure you don't know, but you know how many phone calls that we get from a young Muslim women who's saying that they've been discriminated at school. Even the school system, the education system, there's a discrimination there. I was dealing with a young lady who wanted to be a medical doctor, but the field that she wanted, she couldn't get it. Why? Because only certain elite people are allowed. Only certain people are allowed. And you don't fit the description. Or actually, you fit the description of the people who are not allowed to be in. So the discrimination is that. The systematic racism is that. And whether we like it or not, whether you discriminate because of the color of your skin or because your faith, discrimination is discrimination. Let's be real about it.
So Said, I wanted to thank you for such an insightful talk. I feel like whenever we have our talks, it just happens so amazing and it feels so natural. And you always share so much information with our watchers. And thank you so much. Really
thank you very much. Thank you for having me over. I really appreciate for the opportunity. Hope to see you and hear from you again.
Do you have anything else that you would want to add?
Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And I think you guys are doing, young people, you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. Not taking away the rights from anybody, but I'm saying if really the people who can change the future is you and the people like yourself. But we need to concentrate in 3 areas. In my view, you guys need to concentrate in education. I mean, you gotta be professors, you gotta be, teachers, that's very crucial. You gotta go into the education system because this education is not gonna change by itself. The discrimination. When I was in high school, when I was going to school, the principal wanted to put me in apply, so I don't make it to university. Luckily, I went to Catholic school, by the way. Luckily, my teacher, she left her class because she knew I was going to see the principal, and she said to the principal, no, he's not going there. She forced me to go so education is very crucial. The second area, Jamila, that I want you to consider is media. We must get involved with the media. We must change the narrative. You can't sit back and expect somebody else to deliver your right on a golden plate. You do not allow anyone to fight. You fight for yourself. You speak out. You stand for yourself and say, this is what I deserve. I'm going to take it, like it or not. So the third area, that is, you also have to get into politics. Politics. This is, politicians, they just work with whoever comes forward. They will not give you a right unless you really demand. I would say the fourth thing, get into business. Start making some money. We need that. We need, because these politicians, they only bend to those who have the cash. If you don't have that, and that's what I say, work as a community, try to increase your business opportunity, go into the system, be businessmen and women, make some money, be like Oprah, just be rich, filthy rich, and then you can change the system. Do these four things, and you can be better place. We can be in 10, 20 years in a better position, hopefully. Thank you very much, Jamila.
So I would like to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode, and I'd also like to thank Imam Said for joining us and sharing his insight. I will catch you guys in another episode. Bye.
Please do not forget to like, comment, and share to our channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and for more information, please check out our website. you.